Okay, today's article is called Christopher Columbus Didn't Discover the New World. He rediscovered it. And this article today builds on what we've been learning this week about the age of exploration and of navigation on the seas in the 15 and 1600s and 1400s. And it builds on what we were learning about in our textbook just a couple weeks ago. So the article begins with this painting here. And the caption of the painting reads, Viking Leif Erikson discovers North America before Christopher Columbus. So this is a picture of Viking Leif Erikson. And I happen to have a little bit of background knowledge that this would be about the year 1000, almost 500 years before Columbus, and about 1,000 years ago from now. Okay, so here's the article. Introduction. The year 1492 was extremely important in human history. Christopher Columbus landed in the Caribbean islands. Europeans did not immediately realize it. However, the Italian explorer accidentally discovered the Americas. The Americas are the continents of the Western Hemisphere. They are made up of South America and North America, which include Central America, Greenland, and the Caribbean islands. Europeans called them the New World because at the time they were completely unknown. The ancestors of the Native Americans were the first to reach the Americas. These early explorers crossed a land bridge over the Bering Strait. This bridge connected Asia to what is now Alaska. That's up by Siberia. And a land bridge isn't really a bridge. It's just land, a narrow part of land that goes through, that covers one bigger body of land to another through water. The first Europeans did not arrive in the Americas until thousands of years later. By that time, the Native Americans had already explored and settled the land. But when the Europeans arrived, they called it the, quote, New World. All right, here we go. First subsection, titled Early European Explorers. Legends tell of early visitors from Ireland and Wales. An epic tale describes the journey of St. Brendan and other Irish monks through the Atlantic Ocean in the 500s. That would be 500 years before Leif Erikson and the Vikings. The tale claims the monks reached a large piece of land. It could have been North America or the Canary Islands. The Vikings of Norway are the first Europeans who visited North America. In 982, a Viking named Eric Thorvaldsson began a colony in Greenland. Thorvaldsson was also called Eric the Red. The Vikings were also the first Europeans to land on the mainland of North America. They were led by Leif Erikson, one of Eric the Red's sons. They probably reached the coast of Canada. Archaeologists have found evidence of Viking communities there from about Leif Erikson's time. And I've actually been to one of those called Lanso Meadows in the tip of Newfoundland. It's a reconstructed Viking settlement reconstructed from the archaeological find of a Viking settlement in that exact location. The expedition continued south. The Vikings reached a warmer wooded land where wine berries or grapes grew. They named this place Vinland, meaning wine land. Vinland may have been in what is now Maryland or Virginia in the southern United States. And here's a picture of Eric the Red, an early Viking explorer. And we can click to enlarge it. And looks like the words are in a different language, of course, from 1,000 years ago. And that's what he was depicted as looking like. All right, the Age of Discovery, or the Age of Exploration. In the 14 and 1500s, Europeans rediscovered the Americas. This great period of exploration is known as the Age of Discovery or the Age of Exploration. Europeans also explored the coasts of Africa. They sent ships to India and Southeast Asia and sailed around the globe. The Age of Discovery had a huge effect around the world. European exploration created globalization. This means the development of links throughout the world. Europeans conquered and colonized distant lands and established vast empires. In the Americas, they accidentally brought over diseases that killed large numbers of Native Americans. More Native Americans died because Europeans forced them to work on plantations and in mines under terrible conditions. Europeans later brought African slaves to the Americas to work. Meanwhile, gold and silver poured back into Europe from the mines, making European countries even richer. European exploration led to the exchange of plants, animals, technologies, and ideas. That was the Columbian Exchange that we read about in our textbook in Lesson 2. Many of the crops that feed the world came from the Americas. Just a few of them are potatoes, corn, tomatoes, and chocolate. Europeans introduced domesticated animals to the Americas, like horses and pigs. In other words, Europeans had never heard of potatoes, corn, tomatoes, and chocolate before rediscovering North and South America. And the people in North and South America had never heard of horses and pigs before the Europeans came. They also brought new crops like wheat, rice, and sugarcane, and introduced steel and guns. Sugar and cotton were grown on New World plantations. New World plantations are those plantations in North and South America. Raw sugar and cotton were sent back to Europe, where they were made into sugar and cotton cloth. This next section, let's look at this illustration here. This one says the first slave auction in New Amsterdam in 1655. So New Amsterdam was what is now called New York. And look at that, 1643. It says here on the background, the painting's from 1655. And this is a slave auction. It's a very sad picture, isn't it? See the slave for sale and men bidding on him. All right. Next section is called The Desire for New Trade Routes. Oh, wait, no, sorry, back up. The next section is called Advances Fostering Exploration. Bigger ships could handle ocean winds were made. Because they were bigger, they were able to hold more cargo. Ships were now able to sail across the ocean. Europeans made discoveries in the science of the stars or astronomy. We read about those yesterday, didn't we? These discoveries helped sailors navigate their ships better. Printing technology improved, which let more people have maps. They also became more and more accurate, the maps did. Better instruments helped navigators observe the stars and steer the ships. We'll look at that in a second. In the 1100s, the magnetic compass reached Europe. Also, navigators began using the cross staff and the astrolabe. These tools helped to know a ship's latitude or its north-south position. And we learned about those yesterday too, didn't we? Let's click on this illustration. This one says a 15th century map of the world. So that's what humans knew of the world in the 1400s, which is the 15th century. What can we see here? Looks like that might be Italy. This is Europe, and this might be Italy over here on the right. And, oh, maybe not. I'm in the wrong spot. No, that's India, I think, or parts of China. Italy is way over here on the left. Europe is that red section over on the left upper corner. Oh, I can see it now. There's England, France, and this whole dark yellow part here in the bottom left is Africa. All right, desire for new trade routes. European explorers found the New World by mistake. They were looking for better routes to China, India, and Southeast Asia. The silks, spices, and jewels of the East were carried over land, which was becoming more dangerous. We learned about the Silk Road earlier in our textbook, didn't we? Goods from the East were scarce, that means rare, and expensive in Europe. Ships could carry them more cheaply and in greater quantity. Europeans hoped that finding a sea route to Asia would make bringing riches back easier. All right, now that you're done reading, you are going to click on the activities button and take the quiz. Take it carefully and thoughtfully, okay? And I can't wait to see how you do. Let me know if you have any questions.